Yes, you've tuned into the tuning channel. It's the tuning channel. I think I'll get a tuner on the guitar. Makes it a little easier. Guys and gals. You know, I was thinking about, oh, I gotta turn on the light. I was thinking about maybe another series of lessons I could talk about, because I could go forever on this subject. Well, on this one too, the one we're currently in, chord progressions. But would be playing rhythm guitar. Hey, Colorado. CodeMet. You're new, as far as I can tell. Yeah, TLC. Just kind of waiting for people to show up. How many do we have? Let me see, 14 right now. So we're just kind of waiting. We've been on for 3 minutes, so. Cool haircut. No, it's just, I did get a haircut finally, but it's been a minute, and I don't think I put any product in today. Oh, okay, cool. I've gone through almost all of the live stream videos. This is number 75, so I've got about, I don't know, 15, 20 more to go. And what I'm doing is I'm making sure they're in playlists. I'm making sure there's a card at the beginning that links you to the basics lessons. Also, I'm making sure that, let's see, what was there? There's another thing. Oh, that there's an end, for what's it called? But it's like links at the end where you can subscribe and all that. I don't know why they don't put like a subscribe thing in the front, but people can subscribe via any, on any page. So and then the other thing I've been doing is putting ad breaks in. So I apologize if you're going back and watching, you're seeing ad breaks. But I'm trying to figure out a way I can, generate more revenue off of doing this, because generally these videos are making me like $1 or $2. So the live stream ones. And so, it's just kind of one of those things I was doing while I was watching TV last night, and adding ad breaks. And because the videos are sometimes 2 hours or even longer, I'm putting ad breaks in every 30 minutes. So I was watching, which is nothing for a 4-second clickable ad. I was watching a Rick Beato video recently, and I don't know what happened there, but I was getting an ad about every 3 minutes. It was kind of annoying. I would never do that. But yeah, 75. I know, right, Gary? So we're going to talk about, we've been talking about the key of E and the chords in the key of E, and then we did the ancillary chords, the kind of the secondary chords in the key of E, which basically, like I said, in any major key we have 6 main chords, 3 major and 3 minor. The 1, 4, 5 are major, and the 2, 3, 6 are minor. And then the next thing we do is we take all those chords except the root and make them the opposite of what they were. So we took the minor chords and made them major, and we took the major chords and made them minor, and we get all sorts of new sounds and great fodder for songwriting. But also getting familiar with these sounds will help you figure out songs as you're trying to decipher. Oh, what song is this? You know, how do I? What? Oftentimes, you may not have a problem figuring out a song until it gets to that one chord that doesn't belong in the key, and you're like, wait a minute, what the heck chord is that? So hopefully we're getting a little bit of training, ear training here, that is helping you recognize chord progressions and chord changes. And we talked about, in the key of E, we talked about the like I said, the 6 main chords, which are E, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A, B, and C sharp minor. And that when we took the minor chords, like for example, the F minor and made it major, and I like to put a 7th in there, it creates a new leading situation or a new tension that wants to be resolved. And in the case of F sharp 7, it wants to go to the 5 chord, which is B. So like maybe. So you can see where that F7 is the 5 of the 5 chord. We talked about that. And so I had a revelation Monday, and if you were there Monday, you saw me have a revelation that the next 3 chords we're going to add are basically the 1, 4, 5 in the key of G that we're gonna use to facilitate changes in the key of E. What's the word I'm looking for? But basically to create that, maybe that outside tension, an outside chord. Basically the 1, 4, 5 in the key of G it's just G, C, and D. And each one of those chords has a different tendency towards the root chord or towards a chord in the song. You can. That's weird. So there are times where certain things won't work, but we all know the G E thing. Right? That the whole Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood is the 4, the 3, flat major 3, and the 1 in the key of G. Right? So that would in the key of E, it'd be hard to do. Because we're not tuned to open E. Let's see. You can kind of imply it just by doing that. And that G really wants to lead to the E chord. It's kind of like going, right? It just wants to go right down there. And then, of course, the D wants to go up. And the D is not in the key. There's a D sharp in the key of E. So D is actually outside the key. So we would call this the flat 7. The flat major 7. So the way you would write that and that would be the D chord in the key of E. That's kind of how you would write it. So. We're good here, right? Stream-wise. All right, and we do have a drinking game. Pepper says hi to everybody. You said hi to me too, right? Let's see. Pepper, are you doing stand-up yet again? When are you gonna get back up in front of audiences again soon? Was that a class you took when you did that? I had a friend that took a class, and then I had to go see him do his stand-up, and it was, it kind of proved to me how hard it was. He never took his eyes off his cards. They were all supposed to memorize their routine, and he didn't. He had his cards up there, and he said, "I just need my cards just to have." So he put them on a stool, his little note cards, and he goes, "Yeah, I don't really need them. I just have to have them there just in case, And he did nothing but stare at his cards the whole night, the whole set. I think it was like a 15-minute set. Hey, Terry. Need to get out of the production box. What kind of production do you do? Exactly, Leo. The goal is to have fun playing guitar. Let's see. So the three chords we're going to add to the key of E today is the G, which is the flat major 3, the C, which is a weird one, which is a flat major 6, and then the D, which is very common, which is the flat major 7. Oh, I missed it. Sorry. Terry, did you say what kind of production? Nice. Okay, so you're going to do more. Okay, so Terry, what kind of production do you do? Did you say I missed it? Everybody's saying hi to each other. It's a friendly group. So that C, normally when if I'm going to do like a C chord in the key of E, it's usually because I'm going to D to E. It's that kind of classic ending. It might be the third to last chord in the song if I'm going to go to C chord in the key of E. I don't know, that might work. That nice chromatic movement down. The C to B. I could also go C to C minor, C sharp minor. That's kind of weird. The nice thing about the C sharp minor to the C major is you got the top note, the third is the same in both chords. They both have E's. So I'm not sure if I can think of a song that does that, but I could see using that. But the C to D doesn't have to be in the end of a song. You could put it in the middle of a song. In fact, kind of what's happening in parts of Creep. I keep using Creep as an example, but it's such a great chord progression. Part of what happens in Creep is goes to the 1 and then the major 3 to the 4 to the minor 4. But the minor 4, the major, so that's A minor. The major substitution for A minor would be count up 4 half steps or 3 half steps, however you want to think of it, and it would be C major. Okay, and there in the key of E, there's your flat major 3 or 6. But there's points in the song where it's like, I think the bass player's climbing up. So you're kind of implying, A minor over B, A A minor over C, A minor over D. It's kind of a cool progression, and then okay, and that's actually, you know, we haven't even talked about, we've only talked about triads and seventh chords. But like, for example, I love the sound of that A sus. The A sus kind of implies the D chord, which is that flat 7. A lot of times at church, when we're playing, if we're playing a song, you know, and so usually what we do is we do like 3 worship songs, and then we'll do communion. And the worship song before the communion will often be a ballad or slow song. And so then we'll play that instrumentally. Sheila will play the melody on sax. Like, we'll play it like a jazz standard. We'll play the verse, chorus, and then somebody else will play the verse, chorus, and somebody else will play the verse, chorus, play the melody. Oh, no, really? Weird, because I got green here. Oh, not receiving enough video to me. Okay, you're right. But, error, it says here. And that was just now. Weird. Okay. Oh, man. Oh, it is dropping. I mean, I'm getting 30. Yeah, I'm getting 2,800 kilobytes a second, 2,500. Hopefully it's back to normal. It's green right here. I'll try to keep tabs on that. Yeah, right. YouTube needs a lube job. Yeah. Oh, that's good. The audio is fine. And so we'll be playing, you know, a song. Maybe it's, right? Very standard. So the chord progression is 1, E, 5, B, 6, C sharp minor, A. Okay? But Michiko Hill is the keyboard player, and she loves blues and she loves funk. She moved from Japan to America, and she's a very, very good keyboard player, and she loved funk music. And she met Pee Wee Hill, a funk bass player who's played with a lot of people. And together they've toured with Sly and the Family Stone, Rufus. I mean, years, I think they recorded like 3 or 4 records with Sly. And so, you know, at church, so many of the songs are very, you know, straightforward, kind of square. So I'll do that in there. And what that tells her, if I do the A, see, because that D is not in the key of E, it's a D sharp. I mean, technically, if I were to do that, yeah, we could do old rugged cross funk. We've done everything funk. That's the proper 4. Which is cool. Again, that's that sharp 4, that sharp 11, which creates kind of a wanting, a yearning sound. I'll tell you, who uses it all the time is Hans Zimmer in his scores. But if yeah, is it? I got a pretty mellow sound on it right now. But if I add that D, that A sus, if I add the D, it kind of implies kind of an E7, kind of a blues thing, and kind of the same thing as playing the D. You know, it's almost like if I did that, you know. over A to A. I love that chord. It's a great chord. D over A. And that is nothing. And then open. 4, 2, 3. And I'm really not. You could play the top string, but I'm really not. I'm just playing that. If you play the top string, it would be like this. And then this is cool too. If you can finger it this way, then it becomes a D2 over A, which is also really nice. Almost sounds like you're in open A tuning or something, kind of Keith Richards vibe. Let's see, D2 over A. So check this one out. I'll play it so you can hear it. 0. Oops. And that's this one. So that would be D2 over. So, but if I go to that D note, I get a get that kind of that bluesy sound. So when I do that, Michiko knows that she's because like. If Sheila's not there, it's just then I'll play the melody, and then Michiko will play the melody, then Alex will play the melody. If Sheila's there, then she's playing saxophone, so I'll let her play. She plays the melody, then I play the melody, then Michiko plays the melody on piano. It depends on how long communion is. And so, but when she's soloing or playing, it's not soloing; it's just playing the melody. We keep it simple. But if I do that, then she knows she can go. She can do some kind of. Weird, not weird, but kind of blues fill or gospel-y fill in that because she really loves gospel music. And she married a funk bass player, and their daughter is Judith Hill. So look her up. She is freaking amazing. A great singer. I've talked about her before. She sang with Michael Jackson. She was the last person to ever sing and dance with him before he died. That was crazy. Diane, are you there? Remind me to tell the story about when Michael Jackson died. That, if you're there, when it comes to story. Oops, let's see. I don't need this open. And then Gary is posting the drinking game rules. The Tom command sips. Thou shalt not, 1, touchest thine face. Touchest thine face. So if I touch my face, you can take a drink. If I refer to myself in the third person, I haven't done that in a long time, have I, Gary? I could do it right there, right? But I didn't. So that's also a violation. If I exchangest thine guitar. Gary's an idea man. He's the one that came up with step by step Strahle. Gotta love it. Let's see if I swap out guitars, may happen. If I don't realize this happened Monday, I think I didn't realize I was in drop D on the G. Was it the G and L I picked up? If I use air quotes, that doesn't count. If I say I had a band in high school called fill in the blank, that would be a good band name. Fill in the blank. I had a band in high school called fill in the blank. All right, that's sip worthy. Let's see if I status thine involvement with Apex Legends, which I played all the guitars on Apex Legends. I just touched my face. If I leave the room, that's actually not so much a punitive sip. It's more of a fill in fill in the time sip. So I pulled out this guitar because I don't think I've played it on my live stream. Let's see. Oh man, you guys are going too fast. I gotta. Saith there is no quiz. Yes. Oh yeah, that's a celebratory sip. If I drop my pick, it's a sip. If I drop a thumb pick, it's 2 sips. Now, if I utter a "that's dope" without a sip from Nine Libation, I don't know what that means. Okay, so Terry, you're a basic recording. Is that what you do for a living? You write music or? All right. Let's see, Jim. What did Jim say? Tom is the epitome of mellow and always sounds good. Oh, you can build a trap beat from scratch. Uh-oh, look out, Terry. Yeah, when I want trap beats, I just use Drummer and Logic. It does a pretty good job. I make some edits usually, just so it's a little bit fingerprinty, more original. I put some trap beats under some bluegrass the other day. It was pretty funny. Just for a weird variation, because you never know. Let's see. Kathy, too many things to do today. Arg. I have to keep editors, chairs, students happy today. But all can wait while I enjoy this lesson. All can wait while I sit here and read your comment, Catherine. It's like, wait a minute. There's no lesson. He's just reading comments. Fill in the blanks. That's kind of what I said almost, isn't it? Yeah. Fill in the blanks. That's actually hilarious. Oh my gosh. Like Phil works at a shooting range or something? Or maybe he's a Foley artist. So, yes, and I am wearing pants, Pepper. Oh, sound video out of sync. Not good. Oh, okay, good. Okay. Yeah, I'm showing green here in my, 2600 kilobytes per second. Not megabytes per second. That'd be insane. Okay, so, the G chord. So what I realized on Monday was that the 3 major chords that we're adding that are outside of the key of G that we're adding are actually the 1, 4, 5 and built on the flat 3. I'm not sure exactly yet how to use that. I mean, there may be a way that you could think that, but basically, so many songs are E, A, D. And the funny thing is, that's one of those cases where the uneducated would go, yeah, that song's in the key of E. And then the educated would go, no, that's in the key of A, because E is the 5 of A, and D is the 4 of A, and A is the root of A. And then you go, oh, it's in the key of A. Okay, so let's play A licks. It doesn't work. My general rule is that the key of a song is whatever chord the song wants to end on. I'd say probably 50% of the time or more, the first chord of the song is the key. But you can't always count on that. I used to teach it that way, and then I would oftentimes realize, oh wait, no, it didn't really work, because sometimes songs start on the 4 chord. It could start on the 5. Or in the minor. Yeah, that's what they should have called Grateful Dead. Okay, so you can see that not all chord progressions in the key of E start on an E chord. So, but what does the song want to end in? And of course, in that, if it's, you could make the argument that that progression, C sharp minor to A to E, is in the key of C sharp minor. It's probably going to want to end on a C sharp minor. And so the minor keys, songs in minor keys are, you can usually tell it because they'll have some kind of they'll usually have a major seven. Like a lot of pop songs are in minor keys. Like I can't think of any offhand, but I play a pop progression. It's like. It goes to the 5 of the 1 in the C sharp minor, which would be the G sharp 7 chord. Okay, so in other words, if you were in the key of A minor, C, F. So far we're still in the key of C, and then all of a sudden we're playing in the key of C. This would be the major 3 chord. But then it wants to lead, and again, this was one where the song wants to end on an A minor. You wouldn't end on C. That doesn't sound right. So yeah, those are minor chord progressions, and and they're usually relative. I mean, they are relative to a major chord progression. You can figure out sometimes. So okay, so back to E. But that D chord, if we want to justify that in the key of E, we want to talk, if the song is playing E, then you can call that the flat major 7. And that way you can kind of go, okay, we're in the key of E. Now, other people will go, well, technically what you're really in is E mixolydian. And we talked about modes early on in our lessons. I think we may get to 100 lessons live stream. Not in a row, though. Obviously, we stopped at, 62? I stopped doing daily. Yeah, that's what I like about you. Cherry Baby by Neil Diamond. Also, ROCK in the USA. That's not I Want Candy, is it? No. No, that's just 4-1. Yeah, there's a bunch of songs that you could probably come up with 20 songs and probably 5 recognizable songs that are E, A, D. What's Jenny? 8675309. That's not the 867. No, it's not, is it? That might be another one that's similar. I'm trying to remember. I used to know these songs back in the 80s when I had to know them. Whether it was from teaching guitar lessons or playing in bands or watching bands and stuff like that. But like I said, I didn't really play any cover bands since I moved to California. I kind of made that a rule that I wouldn't do. Let's see. Okay, so so again, reviewing the chords in the key of E, because that's what we're talking about. The 1 chord is E. The 2 chord is F sharp minor. Oh, and I think did I post these up in? Yeah, I did. I put the cheats up there too, right? In the Discord. Let me go to the Discord page and I'll create a link. If you're new to this, or in Colorado code, if you've been watching the replay, you have not been able to get a link that works for the Discord. Although that doesn't necessarily mean I don't think that you can't join it. But here's a link that's works. And so I posted the main, these here, chords in the key of E, okay? And the bummer about E, in fact, we may talk about this, we'll do capoing, we'll do some capoing. The bummer about the key of E is that, you know, everybody goes, oh, E's a great guitar key, but the problem is it's got, of the 6 chords, 4 of them, so 66% of them are bar chords. So I came up with some cheaters for the bar chords, and they're not exactly pure minor and major chords, but they can work. And so you can see the E and the A haven't been changed because they're fairly playable. But the F sharp minor 7 became F sharp minor 11. And I put these pages up on, I scanned them and put them up on Discord, so you can download them and print them up yourself. These are cheater chords in E. G sharp minor 7, which isn't a super easy chord, but it's not horrible. And then B sus, so there's no third in B sus. And then C sharp minor 7. So the B sus is the only one that you're like, it could be major or minor, you really don't know. So, oh, nice. So, what software are you using, Terry? So again, E, F sharp minor, so 2nd fret, and then bar at the 3rd fret or 4th fret, and you have G sharp minor. And then we go to A, open. I'm basically always trying to move the chords as far down the neck as we can get, as far to open position as we can get. B, this is basically the lowest on the neck B chord we can play. We can play this one, we can play this one, we can play this one, we can play this one. Those are just the caged ones. But this is the lowest one. And then we had C sharp minor. Now you should get bar chords down if you can. A lot of people struggle with them, but once you get them, you should have them. It's one of those battles that once you win it, you don't have to worry about re-winning it unless you don't pick up the guitar for a year. Bar chords are easier on electric guitar than acoustic guitar generally because you have skinnier strings. You can lower the action pretty low on an electric guitar. The other thing is, another trick you can do if you want is you can tune your guitar down a half step and then put a capo at the 1st fret. So now you've got several things working in your, you got 3 things working in your favor. One, actually 4 things now that I think about it. But the strings are at fret height instead of nut height. So the nut's a little higher than the fret. So now the strings are closer to the frets. The strings are a little looser, so they're a little easier to push down. You're a little further up the neck, just a micrometer could measure the difference. But the frets are a little bit smaller, so there's a little bit easier to keep your fingers on them here at the 2nd fret than at the 1st fret. And the other thing that's different, the other thing that helps by doing that is your arm is a little closer to your body. You're not so far out here. If anybody's played a bass before, you realize, man, my hand's way out there. The bass neck is a lot longer than the guitar neck. Even the bass 6 neck, the white looking guitar, the white guitar up on the wall there, that's a bass 6. That basically has a similar scale, basically, a little pun, has the same scale as, and by scale it means length, as a bass, a typical 4-string bass. So, okay, so anyway, that's a little bit of lesson on bar chords. But the cheater chords are E and then, which I love that chord. That's a very, it's a very Andy Summers guitar chord, the guitar player for the Police, just reminds me. E minor 7, 11 chords always remind me of Andy Summers. And the way I figured that was, or the way the frets on that, the name of it's F sharp minor 7 at 11, or I just put 7/11, and that's 2x2200. That's one way to play it. And I play it with these 3 fingers, keeping my 1st finger available, because it just feels good going from E to that. And then if you're playing it that way, then you can slide it up 2 frets, and you can play this, G minor 7. I'm adding my first finger here. This is a little review from the other day. But reviews are great because if you didn't get it the first time, you might get it the second time. Is that, you know what I mean? And this is G sharp minor 7. So basically it's a G minor chord, but it has 2 Bs, which is redundant, but it allows us to have at least one open string. All of these chords now, see, when I was doing the bars, we had 4 of the 6 chords that didn't have any open strings in it. And on electric, I don't really care. But on acoustic, I really like to hear open strings. When I pick up an acoustic, people expect to hear open strings. So I'm always trying to get open strings into the voicings. And a voicing is just how you play a chord. Like here's one A voicing, here's another A voicing. Okay, here's another A voicing. It's just different ways to play the same chord. It's a different voicing. So this was. And if you take off the first finger, if you just slide this up 2 Bs, then that would be technically E2 over G sharp. Boom, boop, 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 boom, boom. Alex is going to be here Thursday. We may go live Thursday night, so it'll be nighttime. So most of you won't even see it, but we may do a little live stream jam session again because that was kind of fun. Maybe we'll do an electric one. We can do it from the studio. I mean, not from the studio, from the bonus room. We can plug into some amps and crank it and have some fun. It could get. I don't know how it's going to sound though, because the hard part about that is we'd have to set up pedal boards and junk like. Okay, and then I just played A. I'm not sure, Leo. It depends. You know, Alex usually comes. He has a student out here, and he usually comes here after his lesson, and so that's usually around 5:36 Pacific Standard Time, and then we usually have dinner or something. And so I'm not sure exactly. It could be as late as like 7 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night if we even do it. So it'll just kind of be a surprise. If you have the notifications turned on, you'll get notifications. Otherwise, yeah, don't mark your calendars. Just leave your notifications turned on. And then if we don't do that, maybe we'll do another Saturday afternoon, because that was a lot of fun. The Saturday morning jam thing, that was fun. So. All right, so now we did the B chord. The B, I have a video, Son of a B chord. I thought that was a clever name. Okay. Oh, brew. Let's see. All right. Sorry, Bruce. I saw your comment here. Needs to be a bit lower. Yeah, I haven't actually. That one I haven't submitted yet. But you would buy it rather than the first one with no guitar. Oh, heavier. Yeah, she drew that. That is her. She drew that guitar. She actually had words on there that said, "Don't fret." But I took those out. Let's see. I can't. It won't let Peter. It wouldn't. Oh, Peter's probably not watching. But Peter, I said I would justify the wording on the center of the shirt rather than with the left justification as shown. I'm commenting on the Discord page. Yeah, I got to work on that. So there's several things. The white shirt thing. The problem is that's a JPEG. It's not a PNG. So it's the. Let's see. I'm trying to find that video of. Sorry. Boom, boom, boom. Son of a B chord video. Son of a. Here it is. All right. Copy link. So here's the video I did on Son of a B chord. So you can check that one out if you haven't seen it. But the T-shirt thing, yeah, it's not a clear image. So any color, it would still have a white box around the guitar. So I gotta figure that out. That was the thing. But for some reason, it wouldn't let me it's stupid. The little editor thing, it was like, it justified left only. And I wanted to justify center as well. But I will try to figure that out, because if you'll notice, like on the coffee cup and all that stuff, it just went left. It didn't give me the option. This is like the silliest thing. So. So then the C sharp minor, the cheater for that one. Well, the cheater for the B was kind of a B sus. Hey, AB, all you lovely people. The cheater for the B chord that I did was technically a B sus chord. So again, there's no third in this. And 2 open strings. So it's kind of nice to have a B chord with 2 open strings, but you got the open B string and the open E string, which is what makes it the sus. Right? Now everybody's got to say, hey, AB. And if you just for fun, you can slide that up 1 fret and get C major 7. A really nice C major 7 chord. And I use triangle for C major 7, but I'm going to write MAJ, because I'm not sure if you're seeing the triangle when I do that. And that would be X, 2, like that. All right, let's see. And then up another fret for, that would be the C sharp minor 7. So X, and then 4, 6, 6, open, open. Oops. I put a space in it. Okay, there we go. Now, that is this chord. And again, I'm not playing the bottom string. So 4th fret, 6th fret, 6th fret, open, open. So C sharp minor 7. Now here's another one I really like. That one's really cool too. This would be one worth getting down. C sharp minor 7. Also another C sharp minor 7. What is it with S's? As you get older, I notice, you get that weird thing going. I don't know what it is about getting older and you do that and get lazy with your S's. All right, so there's that. The other thing you can do with that, I like this one a lot though, is you can put the pinky up there and get E over G sharp. You have to deaden the A string, but E over G sharp, these are all great chords in the key of E. So I'm doing 4X 2 1 0 0. It's a little bit of a reach for someone with smaller hands, but I can do that A sus. Okay, Gary says I need to take a sip for Strahle. Now I just remember there was a pastor, and when the church, he wasn't like the senior pastor or anything like that. He would just, I forget what his job was, but he would get up and do prayer or something. He would say, "Holy Spirit." It just cracked me up, like, Holy Spirit. But I think it's an age thing. I know it's weird, but I think the older you get, the more likely you are, because it's mostly older people that say that do that kind of coloring. Sean, Sean going, "You're a sexy woman." Yes, that's why I say that to my wife. "You're a sexy woman, Mrs. Strahle." A sus to A. Yep, that's what It just kind of brings in this gospely, bluesy, funk, R&B vibe to the key of E. Or you can do that to the 4 chord in any key. That sus is not in the, so like if it was in the key of G, it just kind of, something about it right away makes sure, it's one of those chords, again, like I said, it's a money chord. It's one of those chords where people are like, oh, whoa, you could do this. You could do this for a whole, half a song. right away, you're kind of implying an F chord there, and right away you are. Hold on a second, I got to reply to an email. All right, so yeah, so that's kind of a cool sound, isn't it? That sus for the 4-chord sus. I love that. And so. I'm out of tune. Now, I haven't played this guitar in a long time. It's been in the closet for too long, so I kind of got it out because I wanted to use it on some stuff. And this is, I was wearing, Monday I was wearing the, I didn't even notice it. I'm sitting here looking at myself for 2 hours and I didn't even notice I was wearing the Norm's Rare Guitar shirt, and somebody said, "Oh, I love Norm's Rare Guitars," and I was like, "Oh, that was random." I look at my shirt, and I'm like, "Oh, that's why you mentioned it." And this is the guitar I got at Norm's. And I bought this with some of the money that my dad left me, and my dad, God bless him. I mean, loved the guy, but he kind of made bad choices in life, and you know. When you get married, divorced at least 3 times, there may have been a 4th wife in there, but I'm not even sure. I know my mom was a brunette, and they were married for 20 years. Then he married a blonde for 8 years, and he was married to a redhead for like 8 weeks. I don't know if that says anything. It says more about him than about the color of someone's hair. But he didn't have a lot of money, you know, when he passed away, and he had to live very tight at the end of his life, and it was a bummer. And I know that he would have loved to have bought me a nice guitar, just, you know, and one of the main guitars that I didn't have at the time of his passing was a 335, a real 335. And so this is kind of a 2000 reissue of a dot neck. It's not a real dot neck. You can see that contraption. You see that contraption I have on the headstock. That is called a string butler. And I put that on there to, basically what it does is it keeps the strings going straight over the nut. You see that? The strings are actually going straight over the nut. I did a video with Alex on this. We put one on this guitar, and we put one on his Les Paul, and we did kind of a video of that, like high-speed video of installation, and then trying it out, because it was like one of those things where we didn't know if it was going to work or not. And the problem with Gibsons in general, Gibson Electrics, is when you bend that G. Doesn't seem to change. But the idea is that having the strings come more straight over the nut will help it will create less binding in the nut. And when the strings are immediately going out at angles, as soon as it comes through the nut, it creates this weird, you know, binding thing when the string's getting tugged on. And then, so, hey, Beppe, long time no see. Yeah, money chord. So Leo, money chord is often a chord that is unexpected. Okay. And this is where we're getting into. In fact, I'm working with a couple of brother and sister teenagers tomorrow, and we're going to be getting together and working on pop writing and things like that, and more conceptual stuff, and maybe some guitar lesson in there too. But I love working with young people and helping them, you know, conceptualize and write and come up with things. And I've been doing that with Justin for 10 years. And so, a money chord is an unexpected chord. So it can happen a couple ways. It can happen because it's a chord that's not in the key, which is probably the easiest way to do it. Or it can be a chord in the key that you haven't used yet. So like if you're doing like right? So there's our simple chord progression. And then the fourth time maybe we do, right? So instead of B minor, I did G sharp minor, which is the minor sub for B minor. Okay, that was cool. And it was different, and it came out of nowhere almost. And it would maybe inspire a different melody. But the beauty of that, in that context, if I do a minor sub, so if I go from the major chord to the minor substitution, which is down 3 frets, so B down 3 frets is G sharp, or if I go from the minor chord up 3 frets to the major chord, so G sharp minor up to B, the melody you wrote on either version will work over the new chord. So if your melody, that's it, right? It still works. Okay, but if you want maybe a stronger emotional tug, and which is what is created by what I call a money chord. That's my name. I made that up. I've never heard that before. But then maybe go outside of the key just a little bit and use one of the chords that we talked about, right? So we had the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so if we take all the minor chords, the 2, 3, 6, and make a major, we get different chords that can be justified in the chord progression. If we take the 2 major chords, the 4 and the 5, we make a minor, we can do the same thing. So what I'm going to do is instead of playing G sharp minor, so let's see. I'm going to go to G sharp 7. Right? And the melody works. Doesn't always, because if I sang the B, that might be a little weird. So if I went dun, 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 I'd have to go to the dun, 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 dun. I'd have to go to B sharp or C, but technically that's a B sharp. If I really wanted to justify that chord or make the melody fit over the chord. So you may have to change the melody a little bit. And it's funny because what I was doing on both those examples was I was doing this, and if you are singing in a band, or particularly if you're doing, this is an old video. It's not that old. It looks old, but it's not that old. It's 5 years old. But it's a cool skill. It's called Sing a String, and this is If you haven't seen this video, and I don't know how you would because I have so many stupid videos up there now. It's only gotten worse with the live stream thing. I was like, okay, now I just added 75 videos to my total count. But check out that video, open it up, save it, and if you're a singer at all, because this has saved me in so many situations live. It doesn't matter what the melody is. Someone's singing a melody and you want to come up with a harmony. I'll often do this thing I call sing a string. And so I'll just keep tabs on one note on the neck, and I'll sing that. So, the song could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It doesn't matter what the words are or whatever. The melody could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be that. But if you sing this, if you sing a note that's in every chord, see you later, Caddy. Buffering. Okay, I think it's back. We're back. Dang it! What was the deal? Let's see if I'm getting a warning. I'm not. Okay. All right. Good. Might buffer here for a second. But those notes will work whether they totally work over the with the melody, you don't really know, but it's its own dynamic. I love counter melodies. Almost would end up being kind of like this, almost a fugue. I don't know if you're familiar with fugues at all, but fugues have melodies and then counter melodies, and then there are three. Eventually, you have four melodies going at once. It's crazy. Playing fugues on guitar are virtually impossible. You really need two hands and 2 feet to play a fugue, but it could totally be done. So anyway, it's a little trick that I like to do. Anyway, all that to say that, see, that's real in the pocket. We could do that 4 times or 3 times. And that's the moment where everybody's like, whoa. And they don't even realize it. Nobody's actually literally going to say, whoa. But they are, they're not going to say, but their hearts will, their ears, their heads, their minds, their it's one of those things where, music is insanely manipulative. And like I said, I'm out of tune again. See, so much for this string butler thing. Although I think it's because the guitar hasn't been out of the closet in probably a year. But oh, cool. Beppe is going to send me when I succeed. Please do. Do you really want my opinion? No, I'm kidding. Okay, I'm going to touch my face now because I'm thirsty. All right. Now, so that chord there that I used, again, was the major 3. I could just use the pure G sharp major, but I like that 7th creates even more tension. Remember, the 7th chord has a tritone in it, which is if you want to do a laugh track. That's what that is. But in the case of the C minor, that B sharp wants to go to C sharp, and this F sharp wants to go down to E. Or if we were to go to C major, then that F sharp would want to go to E sharp. But it leads really strong to the C sharp minor, especially in the key of E. All right, so let's see. So we did a bunch of those chords, and so the one, like I said, we didn't change the 1 chord. The 1 chord should stay pretty much the 1 chord. We're not going to change E major to E minor, or then we're in the key of E minor. But the F sharp minor can become an F sharp 7. Which we already talked about that. The G sharp 7 we just talked about. The A can become A minor, which we talked about, right? That's kind of the Radiohead. I was listening to that Air I Breathe song by the Hollies, which was 74. It kind of did the same. But what they did was they played shorter on the 4 chord and the minor 4 chord, and then they went to the 1, so it was more like 1, 3, 4, major 3, 4, minor 4, 1. So they didn't. Whereas, yes, money. Funny, money chords. Yeah. Well, I think probably the origin of it came from, for me, the term money chords came from being in the studio writing and pop music and being in the studio with a bunch of other, writers and beat producers and things like that, producers. And I played some chord or something like that, and somebody said, "That's money," and meaning it's a hit. And probably it wasn't, but that's the idea. And so that's when I say money chord. Yeah, that's true. That could be Bruce's point is that money. You learn 4 chords and you got enough to make money, and that's true. In 4 chords, G, C, D, E minor, boom, you're good to go because you capo, you can play any key. Oh, I was going to talk about capoing too. So, but then the other chord, B minor, very somber, kind of has a somber sound. I've found sometimes too when I'm writing songs, if I do the minor 5, it's hard to go back to the major 5. The major 5 sounds weird because you've established the minor 5. So it can be tough to use in a song, I find. But I've done it. And then the major, the C sharp 7, the major 6 chord leads really nice to the 2 chord, the standard, just the regular 2 chord. So it'd be a. So I did C sharp minor to A, B, E. Then I did C sharp major to F sharp minor to B to E. And that ends up being, this is the 5 of the 2 chord, and this is the 2 to the 5 of the 1 chord. Very common jazz, actually. Anyway, I'm gonna take down notice for all the things you are. That would stink. I would just cut it out. Cut it out, Tom. All right. So let me talk a little bit about capoing. And I don't normally capo electric. Sometimes I do. I'm not opposed to it. But I don't mind the sound of bar chords on electric. But if we wanted to get rid of some bar... So if we capo the 2nd fret and play an E, so if you're going to capo up a whole step, you have to transpose the music down a whole step. And I talked about things that I might do, lessons I might do. One of the things I want to talk about, and this is a tough, so one of the things I wouldn't mind talking about is rhythm playing. And I've taught a lot about rhythm playing. And so I thought I could do a whole series about playing rhythm guitar, being the rhythm guitar player in the band, whether it's at church, in a top 40 band. See, now, if you're playing in a top 40 band or a cover band of any kind, you're going to do whatever's on the record. So it's never about coming up with a part or being creative. And so when I've taught about playing rhythm guitar, I'm usually taking it in that context, whether you're playing in whether you're playing in an original band or a church band. Even church, technically, you probably should be playing what's on the record. If there's a melody on the guitar, yeah, I'm going to catch that, or Alex will catch it, or something, or one of the guitar players will catch it. But other than that, I'm kind of going to come up with my own part. You definitely, if you're an original band, you have to come up with your own part. Or if you're going to do covers, and what covers are if you're doing other people's songs. So when you see a band at a club and they're playing Beatles songs or whatever, that's a cover band. So if you're playing covers, generally, you need to play what's on the record. However, if you're playing the cover band and you're doing it your own way, like, for example, if you're a solo acoustic guitar player and you're playing Beatles songs, well, you can't play what's on the record. You got to kind of incorporate multiple elements of the song in your playing to make it, an accompaniment. But you know, if you're playing in a band, you can do covers your own way. You don't have to do them the way they are. In fact, I wouldn't do it any other way, to be honest. I mean, it's kind of fun. I think I mentioned this before. I got asked to be in a Beatle cover band for one gig, for New Year's Eve gig, because the guy that I can't remember his name now, but the guy that was playing George, he wasn't going to be in town and he couldn't do it. It was like an $800 gig. And it sounds like a lot of money for one gig, but I don't think I had to look like George. I didn't have to buy any clothes or anything like that. I'd had to sing, like George, there was at least one George song that I would have had to sing lead on. And then I would have had to learn all of George's harmonies and all of George's guitar parts. And granted, I don't know how long, it could have been a 3-hour set. Three 40-minute sets or something like that. It'd be a lot of music. So I looked at the time, the time crunch on it, and I was like, there's no way I could. I mean, I hated to turn down an $800 gig at the time, because it was like, that would have made my year, to be honest. But I couldn't. I was like, I didn't think I could do it well enough to really sell it. Let's see. Yeah, definitely put it up on the Discord and do your. But we're gonna do. So in the key of D, okay, using D shapes, I should say. We're still in the key of E. Remember we talked about this on Friday. I was like, no. I want you to see this as an E chord. And there's so many reasons why. And most people, when they capo, they don't. They think that's a D chord. It's not. And it just... well, I don't have a British accent. But in the key of using D shapes, we have two bar chords anyway. We have F sharp minor shape and the B minor shape, which in this case is G sharp minor and C sharp minor. So we've gotten rid of, by capoing, we've gotten rid of two bar chords. We could go up two more frets. Okay, so again, the rule is if you capo up, you got to transpose down. So in this case, we're capoing up 2 whole steps. So if you transpose down 2 whole steps, now you can play in the key of C, which is kind of cool because I like. Have a bar chord, but the nice thing about the bar chord, and if you want to, if you can get your guitar, if you have a capo, put it on the 4th fret. The nice thing about the bar chord is it's all those things we talked about with capoing, loosening the strings a half step and then capoing up a half step. The strings are lower, okay? I'm playing on electric, so that's easier. So if you have an electric guitar and you capo at the 4th fret and you play the F bar chord, that's an A chord, by the way. It's not F, it's A. So see that as A. Because if the capo wasn't there, you'd think of that as an A. Why having a bar right here makes this look like an F chord, I don't know. But ultimately, you want to think of that as an A, okay? Also, your arm is closer to your body and the frets are smaller, so you don't have as much spread between your fingers to grab this chord. So this might be an F bar chord shape that you can grab if you haven't been able to in the past. But the 1 chord is C shape, which is E. And this is great because we got this nice pretty... We got all these things we can do to the E chord that we couldn't do down here, or they were different things, B, C sharp minor is the A minor shape. So I'm using the word shape for what it looks like. F shape, it's actually an A. A minor shape, F minor shape is A minor. Cause I'm a creep. You play E7 shape and that would be your G sharp 7. hook is gone. Bye, hook. Anyway, okay. All right, so what am I gonna do? So what's today? Still, this whole thing has got my days all jacked up. I almost forgot about today. I got up this morning, I wasn't even thinking about it, and I was like, oh shoot, I gotta do. So, all right. So I'm going to listening to me. I'm relaxing, really. Okay, I'll just keep playing. Yeah. Let's see. I'll make it relaxing here. I actually like that. Capoing is fun. So I'm pretty much done with this. I don't think you need me to write out a G chord, a C chord. Oh, thank you, AKB Styles, or HBK Styles, Harry Styles. Is it Harry Styles? Do I have Harry Styles watching? I love Harry Styles' record, man. What record was that? I don't know if it's his most recent one, but I really, in fact, I would recommend. Let me look it up real quick because I was shocked, because I was doing so much work with pop artists, I thought, oh, Harry Styles got a record out. Let's see, Harry Styles. What was the name of it? And I know most of my. He's worth $85 million. I know there are not a lot of One Direction fans here. Let's see. He's six feet tall. Let's see. I met them in the studio. They were hanging out. Oh, there it is. They were hanging out in the studio with Justin, and Justin was playing them a record that I was working on. And so they were hanging out. And it was funny because I had Alex with me, my son Alex, and Savannah. Let's see. One Direction. Oh, no. A discography. Here we go. Oh, hey, I guess it was. Oh, man. So was it this one? So, yeah, it was this one. I guess it's just the yeah. Jeff Basker was like the kind of the brains behind it, I think. Really good record. It was just the Harry Styles, self-titled. Not what you would think. I can't play any for you, but check out the Harry Styles self-titled album. A lot of send-ups to 60s, 70s, 80s music. It was really, really, really cool. I was blown away by the record. In fact, it was in my car and I listened to it many, many times. That's usually when I'm want to really absorb an album. I'll put it in the car and just listen to it every time I'm in the car. And so that was definitely the case with this one. It was one of the kind of a surprise to me, and I'm not even sure why I bought it in the first place. I'm trying to remember if I heard a song on the radio. I must have heard a song on the radio that went. I think there was one song on there that had a really cool string arrangement, and that again tells you that for me that was the hook, right? That was the thing that got me to buy the album, let alone a 45 back in the day. But the hook could be a lot of things, and so. So check it out. Check it out on Spotify or Apple Music if you have it. I think you'll be. I'm encouraged when I hear, and I think it's got to be frustrating to be young, and trying to create music because you can really feel like all the good stuff's already been done. I mean the Beatles and the Stones and Jimi Hendrix. You just go through like Fleetwood Mac, and then you get into Nirvana, and you think everything's been done. But the truly creative find that that's not true. And it's one thing to do send ups. There was a Beck record that was from the early, like 2012, I think, that was very much a send up. And I love Beck; he's great. Not Jeff Beck, but I love Jeff Beck too, obviously. But yeah, yeah. They actually did. You can look it up. There was a turntable for cars. Hilarious. And actually, turntables, you can actually have it so the record mounts vertically, so the needle is hanging, but it still doesn't mean it's not going to skip. But they did have turntables for cars. It's ridiculous. I've never seen one in person, but I know they made them. Oh, yeah, the MJ story. Diane's here, right? I haven't seen Diane comment at all, did she? I'm just missing it. Also, like I said, I went back through all of the live streams and I added Chord in there for sending basically to the basics. Also, I put in ads there, so I apologize if you go back and watch. You're going to see some ads, but I put them in about every 30 minutes. You'll get like a skippable ad. Just to try to generate more revenue. Because like I said, from these videos, I make about $1, $2, $3, $4. I think the most I've seen from one of these videos, not including donations, obviously, but the most I've ever seen, I think, is $4 that these live streams have generated. So, I mean, that's, hey, $4 will buy me this. My 7 Tips for Older Beginners is the one that generates most of the revenue on a monthly basis. Oh, she was here. Oh, there she is. Okay. All right, so the story, the Michael Jackson story. I never met Michael Jackson, but of course his name has been besmirched, and maybe rightfully so. I have my own opinion on it, but I'm not going to go into it here. But like I said, the Pee Wee Michigo at my church, I've been playing with them since 2001. I've been playing at Shepherd, and their daughter would sing occasionally at church, usually on Easter specials, and then sometimes she would sing backgrounds. She even sing backgrounds for me. But Judith Hill, look her up. She's freaking amazing. In fact, she sang we were watching Michael Jackson's funeral live because we knew Judith would be there, and she was at center stage, and she was singing in the choir, things like that. And then all of a sudden she started slowly stepping out, and I said, Beth, I think Judith's going to sing a solo. And Beth goes, oh, no way. And then sure enough, she starts singing a Michael Jackson song. I forget what song she sang. And I just opened up my laptop. I went to Twitter and I saw people just like, who is that? And I started tweeting, in fact, ABC News, I tweeted to ABC News that it's Judith Hill from Pasadena. And the next thing I know, there's a news story like a minute later on ABC News that it was Judith Hill from Pasadena. But great singer. She studied, I think, piano and composition at Biola University in Los Angeles. She's a really very, very good piano player as well. And I taught her first few guitar lessons not that long ago. She just started playing guitar, and she's now, because guitar is so much cooler. I was watching the I was watching the classic albums. I don't know. You can, if you have Amazon Prime, look up classic albums. These are great videos. They're about 20 years old now. But if you just enter classic albums, there's a lot of great albums where it's cool because they take the original tapes and they put them on, and then they solo things. So you get to hear things like bass parts or piano parts or vocal parts without anything. It's like really cool little, and then oftentimes the artist is there, like U2 did Unforgettable Fire, and it was Goodbye Yellow Brick Road we were watching last night, and Elton says, yeah, there's never been a heartthrob that played piano. He's like, you're either a singer or you're a guitar player, but not a piano player. I never understood that. It's like, it's not, he goes, I'm not David Bowie, so, but anyway, Judith, now plays guitar more than she plays keyboards live. But she was singing Michael Jackson. She got the gig. In fact, it was funny because she was really discouraged, and she came over to our house to pray with Beth. And then after they were praying about her career and just her choices, what decisions to make in life, this is not the story I was going to tell, but we walked to the pharmacy down the street and got ice cream. I said, let's go get ice cream. So we all walked. It was a hot day. We all walked down, the kids and everybody. And I'm talking to Judith, and she's she's wondering what she should do. And I said, well, you can always sing backgrounds. You should do the you want to do your music. You should do your music, but you still got a gig, and so you got to make money. And so she went to a open mic thing that night, and Beth had encouraged her to. She wasn't going to go to it, and she goes, I got invited to this open mic thing, but I want to go. And she ended up going because Beth said, no, you do it. It'll make you feel better, and who knows? You never know who you're going to meet. And sure enough, the keyboard player, I don't know if it was Michael Bearden, but it was someone connected with Michael Jackson, and Michael, I guess they recorded Judith, and they sent the recording to Michael Jackson, and she got called into the audition for Michael Jackson, the This Is It tour, and she, thinking it was going to be like 500 girls for this one role, for this one part, and what's crazy? What's her name? He's had a bunch of different background singers. I'm touching my face. Take a sip. No relation to Faith Hill. No. Judith is Pee-wee Michiko's daughter. So Pee-wee is black and Michiko is Japanese. So she's half and half, Blasian, I guess you could say. And she, the sweetest girl, and unbelievably talented. I mean, insanely talented on so many levels. Sheryl Crow actually sang backgrounds with Michael Jackson, did tours with him back in the day. She was a background singer. So Judith goes to the audition, and it's only one other girl. And the other girl was Seth Riggs' daughter. And you're like, well, who's Seth Riggs? Well, Seth Riggs was Michael Jackson's vocal coach. In fact, a friend of mine took some lessons from Seth Riggs. The bass player in my band took some vocal lessons from Seth Riggs, and I went with him one time. And so I got to meet Seth. I actually took from Jubilant Sykes, who taught at Seth Riggs' thing, and studio at his house in, what's the name of that? Hancock Park in L.A. And I met Seth that day, I remember. He was constantly spraying like some kind of rose water in his throat all the time. It was kind of crazy. Take care, Pepe. So she goes to this audition, and the ironic thing about it was that I guess Seth Riggs' daughter had a pretty good voice, but she couldn't really harmonize. It was like, that's kind of that's like about the only skill you need as a background singer. You're not singing melody, so you got to learn to harmonize. So she could sing melody great, but she couldn't. And Judith, of course, was an amazing singer. Great look, great vibe. She looks like a fashion model. She's tall, skinny. She's got a great look. I mean, check her out. But no relation to Faith Hill. And so, and Judith even sang backgrounds for me when I led worship at Shepherd for a couple of years. She would occasionally sing. I felt bad for her. I'm like, oh man, that's a step down. Anyway, so she gets the gig, and they start rehearsing at Center Staging in Burbank without Michael. And they're learning the songs and the background parts, and I don't know if they have someone sitting in, I can't remember. And then Michael starts showing up, and then they moved the rehearsals to Staples Center. They rented Staples Center to rehearse because the tour was not a tour, it was just a, what's it called when you're in one place the whole time? There's a term for that, and I can't think of what is it. A residency. It was at the O2 Arena in London, and they'd already rented apartments and everything. So Judith had an apartment. She wasn't paying for it. fortunately, but they had an apartment for the whole year, and they were doing like 30 shows at the beginning of the year and 30 shows at the end of the year. So it was like 60 shows total through the year. And so she had this apartment that she wasn't going to be using. So we were going to use it. We were actually going to fly to England and use her apartment. And then, so flash forward, they're in the midst of rehearsals or whatever, and Michael's starting to rehearse with them, and they're running a little behind. I'd heard that they were running behind. Like they had a lot of bugs to work out in the show. And some of it was Michael and some of it was tech and all that stuff. But in fact, I think they even canceled the first couple shows at the O2 and rescheduled them for the end of that first run. And so then it was a Saturday, I think, and I got asked to teach a clinic at Saddleback Church down in Orange County at Lake Forest. And so they wanted me to teach a guitar clinic for like 3 hours. And I go down there and I teach a guitar clinic for about 2.5 hours, and then I take questions for like the last half hour. And somebody asked me, I don't even know why this question got asked, but because I wasn't talking about leading worship. I think I mentioned that I had led worship, but at that point I had stopped leading worship and I was more just playing guitar at my church, and I had been teaching clinics a lot, so it wasn't anything I wasn't used to doing. And so I was mostly just talking about guitar, acoustic, electric, stuff like that, you know. And I brought my rig and I brought acoustic and did all sorts of. It was a couple hundred people in this room. It was a big clinic, and somebody asked, do I ever, as a worship leader, do you ever transpose a song to make it more friendly for the congregation? And I said, oh, well, yeah. I said, and this is where it gets surreal. I said, yeah, she sang with Josh Groban. Yeah, that's right. She toured with him. Only because she took that gig when I was with her but she took it only because she was able to do her set before his set. So she got to do her music before and then she joined him for his music. So I'm talking about how I said, yeah, because I'm not a good singer. I'm actually a very average singer. But in some ways I said, I think that makes me a good worship leader, because if you're a really good singer, you've got a better range, and you tend to put songs in ranges that maybe most people can't sing in. You also tend to maybe be busier and do more flourishes, and people can't sing along with that, so they may stop singing. And then the other thing is, if you're a really good singer, people may just want to sit back and listen. And the whole point, I always felt like, as a worship leader, and I know there's not a lot of, not everybody here is involved in church music, but I've done church music my whole life. And one of the things as a worship leader, your job really is to get as many people singing as possible, worshiping. And that's always been my job. So I always put songs in keys that were good for me, and I have a very average voice, and obviously there are going to be altos that have problems singing with me, but sopranos and tenors, even basses, would not have a problem singing in my very narrow range. And I said, yeah, and I said, I've sung with great singers. I had Denise Williams, who was a singer. She had that hit, Let's Hear It for the Boy. She had a hit. She sang backgrounds at my church, so she sang with me sometimes. Maxie Anderson sang backgrounds for me, and she's a great singer. Got signed years in the 70s to a label deal, and she sang backgrounds on 1,000 movie, TV shows. Cindy Herron, who's one of the members of En Vogue, she's a member of our church, and she also sang, backgrounds for me. It's just like ridiculous. God bless her. I mean, they put up with me, and Judith would sing, backgrounds for me too. And I said, and so I'm telling this clinic, I'm telling all these guitar players, I'm going through these people, and I said, Cindy Herron from En Vogue, and I said, Mike, and Judith Hill sings, she's currently singing with Michael Jackson. And right at that moment, someone goes from kind of in the back of the room, somebody says, I just got a text that Michael Jackson died. And then someone else said, I just got the same text that I just saw Michael Jackson die. It's like everyone's like phone is lighting up that Michael Jackson just died. As soon as I said his name, that happened, and I was like, "What? That is crazy." Um, and I got him on the phone immediately, called Pee Wee, and he was like, "Oh, he was." Judith was devastated, and then to have her work with Prince, and then like she was touring with him and staying living not with him but living staying at Paisley Park, and they produced her one of her records together, and he taught her how to produce. Prince did, and then he dies. Like she had just been with him like 2 days before he died, and was flew back to L.A. because she had some other work to do, and she thinks if she hadn't left Paisley Park that he might have survived because he was all alone at Paisley Park when he died. But she was on that flight from Atlanta to Minneapolis where they had to do an emergency landing. She was the one that made the pilot do an emergency landing because he OD'd on Percocet. And the crazy thing is that Prince, he didn't allow cussing. They were all vegan. No drugs were allowed. No weed, no cocaine, nothing at Paisley Park. I mean, it was super clean, but he had one failing. And well, keep in mind, he was a Jehovah's Witness, and he was putting off surgery. He needed a hip replacement. He was putting it off for religious reasons, I believe. Maybe. I could be wrong on this. And so he got addicted to painkillers. And in his head, in Prince's head, I'm sure what he was thinking was it's not drugs because a doctor's prescribing. Although at the end, when he was having to take so much of it, he was having to get doctors writing him, illicit, like, more than, not illicit, but more prescriptions than they should have been writing him. Or maybe going to multiple doctors to get, prescriptions. And my understanding was that morning that he died, had a doctor coming over to work with him to get him off the Percocet. And I think he was taking the elevator down and he died in the elevator. And so that's, I think, where they found him. I can't remember, but it was so sad. And Judith was devastated. She really thought the world of Prince, and they became very dear friends. And talked about religion all the time, like argued about religion all the time. Not argued about it, just discussed it, and I don't want to go into it, but it was a fascinating story. And of course, she got they did a story on her in the New York Times, and I told Michiko to tell Judith, do not read the comments. Don't read the comments. I said, I will go through the comments, copy and paste the good ones, and send them to you. And it was about 50-50, and about half of them were calling her a black widow because she killed Michael Jackson and she killed Prince. And it's like, she had nothing to do with either one of those. She just happened to be working with them. And of course, she read the comments, and it was like, don't read the comments. So yeah, she was devastated. But she's a great girl, and really like her a lot. But and getting to be a pretty darn good guitar player is kind of scary because she's so musical. Once she figured out the mechanics of playing guitar, she kind of excelled very quickly. And so I'm sure there are lots of videos up there. Unfortunately, all their touring got canceled. They had shows booked from pretty much January to December, and they all got canceled all over the world. She's big on festivals. She does a lot of festivals. Yeah, so that's my Michael Jackson story. Yeah, no, she definitely was put in that place for a purpose, and it's interesting. I got a sense that Prince was a really good guy. In fact, Prince wanted to meet Judith's parents, and so he said, "Would you come out?" And he actually started doing Friday night shows at Paisley Park, and we'd have different artists out, and he had Morris Day and the Time come out, and they had fought, and so they were reconciling, and he flew Judith and her band out, and Pee Wee Michiko are in her band. Like I said, they toured and played for years with Sly and the Family Stone and with Rufus and stuff. So they got the funk thing down. That's funk. She grew up like her godmother is Rose Stone, who is Sly's sister. Rose is the one with the big hair. If you watch, what is it? What was that? Woodstock. If you watch Woodstock, Rose is singing she's got awesome hair. It's so crazy. So, hey, David, 20 Feet from Stardom is the documentary. Yeah, she's in that too. In fact, she's got an Oscar because that won an Oscar for Best Documentary. So she actually has an Oscar, which is pretty dope. I think she'd rather have a Grammy. So she may have a Grammy. I don't know. I don't think she has a Grammy. I think I'd know if she had a Grammy. Sheila has a Grammy. My friend Sheila, who plays sax in our church band, she got a Grammy with Dweezil Zappa. So that's one of those Grammys I don't think they have anymore, which was live rock album. It's like, who does live rock albums? I mean, we could create a band right now, all of us do a live rock album, release it, we'd probably win a Grammy. So that's why they got rid of like many of the categories and I agreed with this, because they had too many categories and it was watering down the value of getting a Grammy. It's like everybody and their brother had a Grammy. I think even The Simpsons made fun of that. It's like Grammy always throws it out the window. It's like trash can. But I don't have a Grammy. I've played on Grammy records, but Latin Grammy records I know. As far as non-Latin, I don't know. I may have played on Grammy, and I can't get a statue, but I could get a certificate. I have friends that have their walls are covered with certificates, and we've talked about this before. It's like you got to pay for those. I mean, it's legit. If you're legitimately on the record, you're allowed to get them, but you have to pay for them. It's like a certification, and then you have to have them framed and all that stuff. It ends up being like you can spend at least $400 on, gold records, things like that. If maybe. And the Bieber record, Changes, is already platinum. Maybe if ETA gets released as a single, that would be freaking dope. I would love that. And this is the time when I should get that text right now that says, hey, ETA is getting released as this next single. That would be dope. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how much radio play ETA got. It's a great track, and I think it could actually, I'll have to check and see if it's charted at all anywhere. So far they've only technically, as far as I know, released 2 songs as singles. Maybe Changes got released as a single, but they did Yummy and then what was the other one? The Metal Grammy. Yeah, see, and that is always one of those things where, for example, David, he's saying that Jethro Tull won the first metal Grammy, not Metallica. It's like Beatles didn't win Grammys. Maybe they did later, like 67 or 68. I'll have to look it up. I used to think they didn't win any Grammys until after they split up. But it was kind of the Grammy, the membership is largely older people, so they're just not listening to the new stuff. So when I always say I can almost predict every Grammy winner in every major category by just looking who's going to split the vote. So if you have, for record of the year, if you have 2 R&B songs, 2 hip hop songs, and 1 pop song, the pop song is going to win. If you have 2 pop songs, 2 R&B songs, and 1 hip hop song, the hip hop song is going to win, because the others will split the vote. And sometimes there'll be a country song, and if there's 1 country song and 2 pop and 2 hip hop, the country song's going to win, because it's almost album of the year is the same, artist the same thing. If it's a pop artist, one pop artist, 2 country artists, and 2 R&B artists, it's going to be the pop artists just because the split. It's almost predictable. It's kind of, and it doesn't necessarily mean anybody's the best. Music is hard to do that way. It's not like, you know, you won the Super Bowl, that you're the best team that year, or you're the fastest man in the world. I mean, that's clearly something you can, you know, note. Maybe there's someone faster that's never run a race, so we don't know. But, you know, that's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can time it. But guitar, it's like, who's the fastest guitar player in the world? Who cares? So, anyway, let's see. Anyway, I'm going to take off. Time to get some lunch or something. But, yeah, check out Judith Hill. Check out that Sing a String video I posted. Is that this one? I'm not sure. I don't know which video this is. I think that if you haven't, it's a great tool for singing background parts, coming up with harmonies. It's a great tool for writing harmonies. If you are like writing a song and you want to come up with some harmonies, you could sing a string. And some progressions. Change guitar so we can take a sip. Some progressions, you know, well, like. What I like about you. You get it. What I like about you. Know how to dance. Up, down, all around, talk about your romance. So all I'm doing is I'm singing the D string, and it's this note for the whole time. What I like about you. The only dun, 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 dun. So when you go to the D chord, you go down to D. Because you do whatever's on that string. If I were singing the G string, it would be what I like about you. So you could do what I like about you. Know how to dance. Up, down, all around, all about your romance. That totally serviceable harmony for whoever's singing lead. You sing the B string. What I like about you. So that's actually the part. You got a low voice, you can go down here. What I like about you. But it's real easy. It's, you know, if you're paying attention to what you're doing on the guitar, you just pay attention to what's happening on that one string. And if it goes down a half step, you go down a half step. If it goes up a whole step, you go up a whole step. And it's real easy. And then it means all your harmonies are going to be neighboring tones. I mean, unless you're doing, if you're playing chords like this, you're going, you're going to be going, I like about you. You're going to be jumping all over the place, but yeah, that's not going to be the way you're going to play the song anyway. So, okay, I've got to get back to work, and thank you so much for tuning in. I'll let you know, I don't know, the peak wasn't that high today. I guess everybody's starting to get back to work. I mean, I see 39 is the highest, so that's low. We had 50 the other day. So, viewer activity, what are you guys up to? Stream health. So we were good once we got going. Yeah, I'll work on that T-shirt thing too with the guitar. I will lower it, like you said. I will try to center it, and I also need to create a ping from that the image that Emma created. I think Alex can do that for me. Clem, good to hear from you. Bonnie, bye-bye. Keith, Leo, David, Bruce, Diane. You're welcome. David Sillers. You've been there the whole time, and you didn't say bupkis. Peter's here. Good to see you. Work intruding on leisure activities. Yeah, I figured that's going to happen. It's kind of why I'm winding down, because I've noticed it's a little bit less viewers. And like I said, I only make a couple bucks doing these videos. I mean, it's what they generate. But what I'm doing is I'm adding lots of ads to them every 30 minutes, which is nothing. I watched a Rick Beato video the other day, and he had an ad every 3 minutes. It was driving me crazy. So I would never do that to you. But I went ahead and put ads in there, so when people go back, you know, the money is generated by the ads. So if I can double that to making $4 or $5, you know, off of these videos, that's a good thing, right? So and I have a feeling over the years, people may go back and they want to reminisce, or they want to go back to the COVID era lessons everybody was teaching. But I don't know anybody that's been as consistent as I have, though. I've seen people do, one or two here and there, but not every day for 62 days. So, okay, so we're at 75. We'll see, not 75 days in a row, but we're at less than 75. Who knows? I'll probably make it to 100. I could see getting to 100, Lord willing. 3 a week, 25 to go. You're talking not quite 10 weeks. I should do one on my birthday. We were going to do something on my birthday. What was that? There was something we were going to, I can't remember now. What was it? I don't know. But anyway, you guys stay safe, be careful. Get back to work if you can. And let's get this show back on the road. And then you can always watch these later. So if you have to work, you can always check them out later. So God bless you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.